Rebels, you are listening to the life of a contemplating college student. You may take as much advice from this podcast as you like, not that it will help you.
Lord Vader.
Yes, Master. What is your bidding?
Here's your medical bill.
Holy, will my insurance cover it?
Oh, yeah. It seems it's only valid if you're the rank of Master.
Coursework, financial aid, followers, copyright strikes, and more. You are listening to the Life of a Content Creating College Student podcast starring Wayne Z0207 and Charlotte Waite.
Good evening, and welcome to the second episode of the Life of a Content Creating College Student podcast. My name is Colton W. Hurst, also known as Wayne Z0207 on the internet. I am your host for this podcast. Sadly, Charlotte Waite could not join us today because she is celebrating Thanksgiving with her family. It has been quite a break, to be honest, but again, wish she was around, but looks like I'll be manning this episode from this point onward. So the format for this podcast will be the same as always. I'll be discussing two things that went well for this week for me, one setback that I came across, what did I do as a college student for that week, what did I do as a content creator for that week, and what clubs or meetings did I attend. So let's get started. Starting off, the first thing that went well for me for this week is I got plenty of math tutoring and made plenty of progress. See, my math class has been a bit of a pain as of late. That was actually the whole reason why I started this podcast. I was feeling not so motivated in meeting my goals. I didn't want any of that around. So I came up with the idea of that kind of notion. I remember my dad, also known as Clint's Cowboy Cuisine, saying to me that if I had all my assignments done, I could do a bit of a surprise podcast. Shoutouts to him for being the inspiration behind my idea. Hello, if you're watching this. Love ya. Hope you're having a great time. Hope to see you soon. Needless to say, it's working out quite well. See, with more responsibility, I tend to get a lot more done. It's the sense of having all this to do, all these people to excite, all of you to entertain. It's what keeps me going. It's what keeps me motivated, because I know the outcome if I do not succeed. All of you are on my mind every single day. Not a day goes by where I don't want to please all of you, where I don't want to entertain you. Not a day passes by for that. And I am grateful for all the support that you all have given me. Besides, with everything going on, I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have all this. I really am grateful for everything all of you are doing for me. It really warms my heart, especially tuning into this series. It's just so amazing having a supportive community, both in person and in the online world. So thank you for sticking by me for all of these years. And then, so basically what happened was, after I got all of that motivation, I was learning around 20 topics or so every single day in Math 100, or Math 101 to be precise. The math class that I am taking is a self-paced course, and it's meant to give you a sense of ease, a sense of relief. But however, it's not the same as a traditional classroom. In this class, you would have to use the Alex module, a module that I despise, if I'm being frankly honest. Again, I get that it's a self-paced course and that the Alex module is here to help me learn, but it does not replace in-person practice where the problems are already outlined and the instructions are clear. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Alex module has plenty of instruction of its own, but it's not the same kind of instruction that I'm used to. As a Type 3, and my top 5 strength being input, I need to have a resource on hand that I can use in order to fulfill those tasks. Kinda hard to do that if you don't have the resources you need. Kinda hard to do if you don't have the equipment. This is what makes being a content creator and a college student so complicated. If I don't have the resources or the material required to run a certain program or do a certain assignment, it kind of gets on my nerves. So I'm grateful for all the resources that we have in our community. All of our local stores, buildings, well, not so much corporate buildings, but, economy. It's complicated. And then second thing that you might have noticed is I got my current laptop back. As some of you folks have noticed, there's a bit of a black background aside from the podcast image. This is because I got my current laptop back. So what happened was the bottom right corner of the display, it started to burst open. And that was such a drag for me. That week was a bad week for me. I just couldn't take it. And I'm just super grateful for all of your support. Again, for that reason. It's stuff like this that demotivates us. But it is as I always stated. There will be disappointments in life. But as humans have the power to turn those disappointments into accomplishments. It's a quote that I honor so very much. With that quote, I was able to do so many things. I was able to accomplish these things, put them out there for all of you to see. It's just amazing seeing you follow my journey and see how far I go. And I hope some of you guys are taking inspiration from this. See, when I achieve all my goals, I expect the next generation to follow up on what I have done. Once I've achieved all my goals, I expect my legacy to be remembered and carried on. That is why I hold that quote very dear to my heart. Because if you really put in the effort when you have a bad week, you can actually create an accomplishment out of it. And it doesn't matter if it's major or minor, any kind of accomplishment that you make, it always makes a difference, whether you know it or not. It's just, it turns your negative mindset into a positive one. It always challenges yourself. It always makes you want to improve. It's that sense of having something to improve yourself upon. It's always having that keeps us going as individuals. It doesn't matter what background we have. It doesn't matter what past that we've got to deal with. I mean, my past has been rough, but you know what it's like. But anyways, let's just say that regardless of what we've gone through or what we're like, it's having that sense of motivation. It's what's keeping us on top of everything. Because with every obstacle comes a chance to improve, a chance to become better. That's what I love about this quote that I've created so much. It has given me a sense of inspiration and motivation. Not to mention being able to balance both worlds. That quote, that is inspirational. And I hold it dear to my heart. And you should as well, because sooner or later it's going to become a pretty popular quote. Because I know I can achieve my goals. I know I can become the first person on Mars. I know I could create that huge charity organization known as the Charity Fighters Association. For those of you who are new to my Facebook page, or new to my content for that matter, in a matter of time, I plan on resuming my charity content endeavors. For 2.5 years, I fundraised for autism awareness. via a charity organization known as Hearst Entertainment. It started out with 3 hatchery workers, myself, and 2 other people. Both of them I'll be mentioning will be going by the names TickleFeather369 and MattDC123. The 2 of you are watching this. It's been a long time. I am not sure where you're at, but I hope to hear from you again soon. In those regards, it started out as just the 3 of us, but as time went on, it became something everyone came to love and appreciate, and people started tuning in, and being able to balance a 4.0 in high school, along with doing all those charity streams, that is what earned me the nickname, Fourth Wall Break, One-Man Army. And it's all because of that quote that motivated me to earn that title. And so I'm grateful to have that. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to overcome those setbacks. But anyways, enough with the good things. It's time to reflect on the bad. The one setback that I had to deal with this week was I had to sit in the back of my writing 121 class on Monday because my laptop hadn't been fixed yet. And on Monday, we were doing a scavenger hunt for finding credible sources. So what we did was, there was a presentation/lecture, and we learned the SIFT method, which was to stop for a minute, investigate the source, find a better source if the source isn't credible, and then take the time to line out all the details and trace it back to the original source. That is the method we practiced for finding credible sources. And it was with that I was able to get 1,200 words exactly on the rough draft of my essay. You know, lately I've been typing up my rough drafts of my essays pretty good. And needless to say, some of these rough drafts could have easily been my final drafts. But I don't want that, in all honesty. I want suggestions on how I can improve. Hence, rough draft. Hence, peer review. From what my college professor in writing 121 had taught me, it's that if an essay is perfect, it's just not good enough. It's not constructive feedback. And so there has to be something you can improve on, something you can change, something to make things better. Because without that, the essay isn't as credible. Its ethos does not build up. There are 4 kinds of appeals in rhetorical appeals: logos, pathos, ethos, and kairos. Emotion, credibility, logic, and time. All of these are what make a great essay or article. I've learned that in my writing 121 class, and I learned a lot more about what rhetoric is. My literacy of it just improved. I didn't know that kairos was a 4th element, in all honesty, but time, it never ceases to amaze us, does it? Anyways, it was a shame having to sit in the back of the class because my old laptop, if it's unplugged, the battery on it drains almost instantaneously. With my current laptop, I don't have to deal with such an issue. But the sad thing is, if I have to use my old laptop, I would have to keep it plugged in. And in the classroom where my writing 121 class was at, it's not known for having many outlets. As a result, I was forced to sit in the back of the class because there was an available outlet there. I wanted to be in the front so that way I could soak in all that information, but that wasn't too possible, but I was able to manage and follow along. That's what being a good student is all about, and I'm so grateful that I am such a good student, and a good content creator for that matter. It is just so amazing that I can balance both worlds, so amazing that I have many tricks up my sleeve. My main factor / strength is my adaptability and unpredictability. No matter what situation I come across, there's always something I have at my disposal that I can use to deal with that. That is what makes me such an outstanding person overall. So I was able to overcome that setback. So it wasn't too much of a big deal. Like I said, I'm lucky I have my current laptop back online. So now I can use OBS Studio to its full capabilities. Because on my old laptop, you have 8 gigabytes of RAM. That is not enough to run OBS Studio. With 32 gigabytes of RAM, I can run that and any other CAD programs that I have to use. So if you're a mechanical engineering student and you're looking into content creation, I would suggest something like the one that I have. An i7 core processor, an Intel Iris Xe graphics card, and 32 gigabytes of RAM, not to mention a terabyte of SSD and a terabyte of HDD to start off with. That is how I started out with, but every case is different. But just adjust your budget accordingly and you should be fine. Now that I reflected on my experiences of the week, the good and the bad, it's time to go into detail of what I experienced. What I did as a college student this week is I studied up on math and made preparation for exams. So I made it through 81% in my Math 100 level in my Math 101 class so far. And it's basically reviewing what I had gone through in high school. Simplifying square roots, simplifying complex numbers. So to explain complex numbers, you can't simplify a negative square root. It's just not a real solution. How they describe solutions like this is imaginary. So simply put, that answer is like an illusion. Something that eludes us. Something that we can't put into deeper words. It kind of gets you wondering, is reality itself an illusion? Or can we put illusions into reality? The unknown is such a big mystery. And that is what kind of creeps me out, but at the same time, intrigues me. All the infinite timelines, all the infinite possibilities in our universe. That is why space fascinates me so much. That is why I want to be the first person on Mars. That's why I want to make all these fascinating discoveries. It's just so amazing as to what we can discover. But anyways, aside from that, Professor Wagstaff showed a cool demonstration in Chemistry 101. So, what happened was, on Monday, he demonstrated the coolest thing by far. He took water mixed with various solutions, like baking soda, iodized salt, and we learned about some solutions and electrolytes. So basically, these carry ions, and basically, electrolytes yield electricity. They yield ions in a solution. So when you put iodized salt in water, it absorbs ions. And so when Professor Wagstaff took the container containing all that water and put it under a source of electricity, he was able to light up a light bulb. That's because light bulbs rely on electricity. Pardon me. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for your support. Just all of you hearing that I got my laptop back, it just warms my heart to the fullest. Anyways, it's just so amazing what we can do with chemistry and what we can do with engineering and science. It's just so amazing what we can do if we experiment, if we take the time to understand what's going on. It puts things into a deep kind of perspective. And that's what things are all about sometimes. And then I applied for some more scholarships. As a college student, being in debt is a big thing. Trust me, you don't want to go that route. I'm lucky to have not experienced any college debt so far. because I filed out for plenty of scholarships and had good grades. Plus, family support, family contributions. I'm grateful for that, but I would prefer it if I didn't have to go through any sort of debt or family contribution, which is why I apply for so many scholarships, and lately I had been lacking in that. From what one of my top advisors, Claire, had told me, or my top advisor specifically, I'm sure you remember Charlotte and I discussing Claire earlier in episode 1. She told me that there was going to be a class known as ACAD something, which in essence is all about applying for scholarships. And I was trying to get into ACAD 120 in all honesty, because that's the stress management course. As a content creator and a college student, it kind of gets hectic if you got a lot going on and you don't know what you're doing. And so I kind of get frustrated if I don't understand what's going on, or if I've got so much going on, or it's just complicated what we go through every day. And so having that class would allow me to manage my stress better. From what one of the professors told me, that class is not being offered in winter term. So a heads up for you Oregon Tech students interested in applying for that class, you can't. I am sorry to say that, but it's the truth. But on the bright side, at least I get to take a class that will teach me to apply for scholarships. And I'm going to try to get into ACAD 120 in the spring, taking into account that I don't get overly frustrated. But the ACAD classes are not there to stress you out. They're there to help you out. So I would suggest taking ACAD classes in your first year of high school. They make so much of a difference. You'll thank me later. Anyways, aside from filing out for more scholarships, it's time to go into depth as to what I did as a content creator for this week. As a content creator, I use Canva. I learned about Canva in digital media. My digital media teacher, Mrs. Stringer, shouts to her for teaching me all the basics of content creation. She taught us how to make ads and how to make podcasts. Hence why I'm able to do this kind of stuff. So I use Canva on a regular basis to make my content creating ads. So I went on there and designed an ad specifically for this podcast. It details the upload times, what the podcast is available on, and it describes the host and co-host. Yours truly, Waynesy0207, and the co-host, Charlotte Waite. Again, I really wish she could have joined us. But anyways, I proposed that idea to her, and she really liked the idea. We did go over everything to make sure it was properly in line and to make sure the ad was clean, fresh, ready to go, ready to print out, ready to distribute. And I did make a small change to the Facebook logo. You see, in Canva, there are multiple types of elements you can add and different variations of logos. My original idea was using the original Facebook logo, but I had a bit of a blue background to represent Oregon Tech's blue color. The two colors that Oregon Tech has is blue and gold. But I chose blue because Oregon Tech students have this kind of cool and calm and collected personality. They are able to have plenty of patience and learn how technology works and patiently work away around their problems. And so I figured that would be perfect for this podcast because this podcast teaches me to be calm and collected. It teaches me how to reflect. It teaches me things on how to grow and improve as a person. But however, Facebook's logo is also blue. It's become a no-duh. And so when I put that into the ad, I kind of felt it would take away from the ad, but Canva offered a white and transparent version of the logo. So when I put that in there, the blue and the white, it contrasted perfectly. And so that is what I chose for that ad specifically. So later down the line, I look forward to printing out these ads and distributing them. So those of you in the Klamath area, expect those ads to be around. I mean, how else are we supposed to improve our outreach? You gotta distribute if you want to bring together. It's just like using distributive property in algebra basics. I mean, we use that all the time when multiplying exponents and coefficients. I mean, all these variables and such, they can get confusing. You gotta watch your signs too. That's another thing that I learned in my Algebra 2 class from an algebra teacher known as Mr. Solist. Shout out to you if you're watching. Aside from the ad, I also dove into the research of the new Stream Deck Plus. From all the Stream Decks that I've known, all you had was a different number of keys. Depending on which one you purchased, you would either have, think about this for a minute, 8, 15, or 32 keys. The Mini has 8. The normal Stream Deck has 15, and the XL has 32. But lately I heard about the Stream Deck Plus, which did way more than what the Stream Deck was capable of originally. Essentially what it can do is, not only do you have the keys that you can press to activate certain effects or start a certain action, but you also have 2 other options. And I'm trying to pull up the article on Stream Deck Plus, but you have a knob that you can turn, and you can actually touch. There's actually a touch screen that you can use. So just having the Stream Deck Plus, it's just so amazing. I mean, kudos to Elgato for coming out with this type of technology. So I have the Elgato Stream Deck Plus outlined now. It's currently loading, but all these features. Not to mention today was Black Friday. Mom herself was not crazy for Black Friday, so we didn't go shopping too much, but all I'm going to say is, under the right circumstances and with the right strategies, Black Friday can actually come to your benefit. So please, stay away from those rioters. Just, my take on this is, the best way to utilize Black Friday is online, because the sales are out there. You just gotta look for them legitimately. Anyways, I have the Stream Deck Plus pulled up. Oh, that's not it. That's not the article. So anyways, from what I've heard, the Stream Deck Plus is available at a price of $200. A bit spendy, but worth it if you can manage to pull it off, I think. I personally haven't had the chance to test it out myself. Heck, I don't even have a Stream Deck. Not any type of one for that matter. But I might get one at some point, but we'll just have to see how things pan out. But I mean, one of the main things as a content creator is you want to keep your content fresh and your equipment up to date. You don't want anything to go unnoticed. You must always come prepared for each stream, for each video that you make. Every year, new stuff comes out. And every year, new challenging circumstances arise. With those circumstances, you gotta move along. It's the only way that we can improve as a society. It's the only way we can improve as individuals. So in a sense, as long as you come prepared, there is no reason you should not be able to face what's going on. Because, like I said, there will be disappointments in life, but us humans have the power to turn those disappointments into accomplishments. And sometimes putting in that extra effort is what it takes to prepare yourself for these new challenging obstacles. Because what we do today prepares us for what we've got going on tomorrow. And that noise, you know what that noise means. That means we've run out of time for this episode. It was such a pleasure being able to reflect on what I've done this week. And it was a pleasure learning about the Stream Deck Plus as well. And thank God I'm finally catching up on my math. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying earlier about my exams. I have a chemistry midterm coming up next Friday, so I'll be preparing non-stop for that. But anyways, on our next episode, we're going to have our first guest speaker on this podcast. And of course, Charlotte will be joining us this time around. Because Thanksgiving break by then will be over, and we'll be back in college. So it's time that we put our best foots forward once again. And so with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening, and remember, there will be disappointments in life. But as humans have the power to turn those disappointments into accomplishments. This is Waynesy0207, aka Colton W. Hurst, aka the Fourth Wall Breaking Women Army, signing out. Good night, everyone.